Welcome to the Speak English with ASAL podcast.
Your journey to English fluency starts here.
I want to start today with a phrase that it literally stopped me in my tracks when I was reading through our source material.
Oh, yeah.
It's this perfect oxymoron for the modern age. Just two words, beautiful nightmare.
It is poetic, isn't it? But it also, gives you a bit of a knot in your stomach just hearing it. A beautiful nightmare.
Exactly. And in the context of the deep dive we're doing today, that beautiful nightmare refers to a very specific and very terrifying scenario.
Let me guess. It involves our phones.
It's the challenge of living exactly one full day, 24 hours, without a smartphone.
Which, let's be honest, for most people listening, and probably for us too, sounds less like a beautiful experience and more like the plot of a horror movie.
Oh, absolutely. Just saying it out loud makes my thumb twitch a little bit. It feels wrong.
It does.
But the deep dive we're doing today isn't just about the mechanics of turning off a phone. We're looking at a narrative account of a specific no-phone day experiment.
Right.
We want to unpack what actually happens to the human brain when you strip away the one device that has become, well, it's become everything.
And everything isn't an exaggeration. I mean, think about it. It's your alarm clock.
It's your math.
It's your news anchor, your bank, your DJ.
It's your flashlight. It's your waiter. It's even your therapist sometimes.
But most importantly, and this is what the source material really drills down into it, is your escape hatch.
The escape hatch from reality. That is the big one.
Right. So our mission today is to walk through this timeline. We have the logs from the moment the subject woke up to the moment they went to sleep. And we're going to look at the withdrawal symptoms, the social awkwardness, and the surprising clarity that comes from disconnecting.
And I want to be super clear right off the bat. We aren't here to stand on a soapbox and shout, technology is evil, or smash your screens.
No, not at all. Phones are incredible tools.
Yeah.
I mean, they're miracles in our pockets. But this experiment is about seeing what's left of us when the tool is gone.
It's about the human variable, not the tech variable. So let's get into the timeline. The experiment actually starts the night before. The subject has to make the conscious choice to plug the phone in, but in a different room.
Which is hurdle number one right there. Most of us sleep with it within arm's reach.
So the phone is in the kitchen. The subject goes to sleep. Then morning hits. The alarm, and in this case, they had to dig out a real physical alarm clock from a dusty box, goes off.
And immediately, before the day has even properly begun, we hit the first physiological symptom. The source calls it ghost hands.
This part was so relatable, it was almost painful to read. The source describes waking up, eyes barely open, brain still foggy, and the hand just shoots out.
It's a pure reflex.
It moves automatically to the bedside table to grab the phone. But because the phone isn't there, the hand just grasps air. It's flopping around on the wood. The source calls it grabbing the ghost of your phone.
Wow. That image is so powerful because it shows that this isn't a conscious decision anymore.
I know.
You aren't thinking, I wonder what the weather is today. Your body is acting on muscle memory like a phantom limb. But psychologically, it's even deeper. The source suggests that in that split second, your brain is looking for a very specific hit.
A dopamine hit.
It's validation. Before you've even said good morning to yourself or your partner or your cat, your brain is asking, who wrote to me?
Who liked my post?
What happened while I was asleep?
It's like checking to see if you still exist in the digital world.
Exactly. You are seeking connection to the out there before you've connected with the in here.
And when the hand grabs air, when you get nothing.
The loop is disrupted. The source describes it as a mini panic. It's a prediction error in the brain. The brain expects the cold glass, it gets warm air, and it freaks out for a microsecond.
It leads to this incredibly awkward analog moment. The subject realizes they don't actually know what time it is. They can't just tap a screen. They have to physically get out of bed and stare at a wall clock.
Which triggers what the notes call the 1999 vibe.
Just staring at a clock face with actual hands. It feels archaic, like you've time traveled. But once the initial panic of, where is my phone, subsides, something else settles in. And this was one of the most descriptive parts of the account, the silence.
Right. And we aren't talking about a peaceful Zen garden silence. The source describes it as intense silence.
They said it was loud, which sounds contradictory, but I think I know what they mean.
Oh, it makes perfect sense. Think about your average morning. From the second you wake up, you are flooding your brain with input.
Headlines, emails, reels, music, podcasts.
You are drowning out the ambient noise of the world. When you cut that feed, the volume of reality gets turned up.
The subject mentioned hearing birds outside, hearing cars passing 3 streets away, even the sound of their own breathing. And they said it felt overwhelming.
Because the brain isn't used to it. It's sensory withdrawal, and this is where the just one impulse kicks in.
Oh, I know this voice. Just one check.
Just one peek, just to make sure the world hasn't ended, just to make sure I didn't miss an emergency. The brain is begging for the pacifier.
It's bargaining. I won't scroll, I'll just check the notifications.
Exactly. There is a scene in the kitchen that I think perfectly illustrates this struggle. They call it the kettle moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is the part where I thought, okay, this is me. So the subject is making coffee. They put the kettle on to boil. Now, in our modern world, what do you do for the 3 minutes it takes a kettle to boil?
You scroll, obviously. It is dead time.
Yes.
You check Instagram, you read a text, you look at the weather, you fill the gap.
You usually know what a stranger in another country had for brunch before you've even had your own coffee.
Right.
But here, the subject just had to stand there and watch the water boil.
And that creates a vacuum. The source uses a very heavy word to describe that feeling. Vulnerable.
Vulnerable feels like a really strong word for just standing in a kitchen waiting for water to get hot.
It does, but peel it back a bit. The screen acts as a shield. It suppresses your internal monologue. If you're anxious about the day, you scroll to ignore it. If you're tired, you scroll to perk up. Without the phone, the subject noted that feelings of worry, tiredness, and anxiety just rose to the surface.
They couldn't swipe them away.
They had to actually feel them.
That's the beautiful nightmare right there. It's beautiful because you're present, but it's a nightmare because, well, you have to deal with your own brain. You have to sit with yourself.
Precisely. And that vulnerability follows you out the door. We have to talk about what they call leaving the cave.
The commute. This was described as feeling like leaving the house without shoes.
The missing limb sensation.
You know the pocket pat. We all do it. Keys, wallet, phone. Keys, wallet, phone.
The holy trinity of leaving the house.
The subject kept patting their pocket, getting that jolt of adrenaline. I lost it.
Yeah.
And then remembering, no, I left it on purpose.
It leaves you feeling deeply unsettled. You feel naked.
Yeah.
But the real challenge wasn't the pocket check. It was the elevator.
Oh, the elevator. The metal box of social awkwardness.
It is the modern social pressure cooker. You get in with strangers. You have 30 seconds of silence. What do?
We engage in elevator escapism. We pull out the phone.
Yeah.
Even if we have no signal. Even if we are just swiping between home screens. We look busy, so we don't have to acknowledge the other humans in the box.
It's a defense mechanism. We use it to avoid the awkwardness of shared space.
So, on the no phone day, the subject gets in the elevator. No phone, nowhere to look. They described studying the numbers changing, looking at the scuff marks on the wall, looking at their own shoes, and then finally, because they ran out of things to look at, they looked at a neighbor and they smiled. And the neighbor smiled back.
It sounds so trivial when you say it out loud.
It does. It's just a smile. But the source says it felt real in a way that shocked them.
Wow.
It was a micro connection that normally would have been blocked by a rectangle of glass.
And that pattern continues, doesn't it? At the bus stop, instead of burying their head in a feed, the subject starts observing the texture of the world.
Yeah, a kid playing with a stone. An old man reading a physical newspaper.
It led to this realization that normally they are watching the world through a screen, but on this day, they were actually in the world.
That distinction, watching versus being, is crucial.
It's the difference between watching a YouTube video about swimming and actually jumping in the cold water.
And speaking of jumping in,
Right.
we need to talk about work. Because the logical assumption is, no phone, I'm going to buy a productivity machine. I'll write a novel before lunch.
Right. I'll clear my inbox in 10 minutes. But it's never that simple, is it?
No. The source highlights a struggle with what they call the famous lie.
The just a second lie.
I'll just check this notification. It'll take 1 second. We tell ourselves this 50 times a day.
But the research and the source material here supports this, shows that the second is a myth. That 1 second check breaks your flow.
It creates what psychologists call attention residue.
Exactly. You check a text, and part of your brain stays with that text even when you go back to work.
So that 1 second turns into 10 minutes of scrolling and then another 10 minutes trying to get your focus back. It's a massive energy leak.
Huge. During the experiment, the subject couldn't tell that lie because the device wasn't there, and the notes describe a brain reset.
Tell us about that. Because it sounds a bit like a detox.
It is. Initially, the brain is agitated. It's like a toddler throwing a tantrum because it wants the candy.
Yeah, it feels itchy.
It keeps asking for the distraction. But because the option simply isn't there, because you physically cannot check, the brain eventually gives up. It resigns itself to the task at hand.
And that resignation leads to focus.
Deep focus, real flow. The source calls out the concept of getting in your own way.
I know this one.
We love to blame external factors. I don't have time, I'm too stressed, my boss is annoying. But the experiment suggests that often we are the obstacle. Our habit of reaching for the device is the wall we keep running into.
That's a harsh truth. We are the villains in our own productivity story.
In a way, yes. But flip it. It's also empowering. If you are the obstacle, you are also the solution. You just have to move out of your own way.
I like that. Now, I want to pivot to what I found to be the emotional core of this deep dive, the impact on home and family.
Mm-hmm.
This is where the source material went from interesting experiment to a heart-wrenching reality check.
This is the part that usually hits closest to home for listeners. The source describes the four worlds problem.
Picture the modern living room. The source paints it vividly. You have 4 people in the room. Dad's on the sofa, mom is at the table, 2 kids are on the floor.
Right. Physically, they are within arm's reach. They are breathing the same air.
But digitally, they are in 4 completely different dimensions. Dad is checking sports scores, mom is answering a work email, 1 kid is on TikTok, the other is gaming.
It's proximity without presence.
Exactly. And this brings up the contradiction defined in the source.
Which is that the phone connects us to people who are far away. We can text a friend in Tokyo instantly.
But simultaneously, it acts as a barrier to the people sitting right in front of us.
We trade the near for the far.
That hits hard. We ignore the person sitting next to us to like a photo of a person we haven't seen in 10 years.
It's a strange trade-off we've all sort of accepted.
So the subject comes home on this no phone day. They walk into this 4 worlds environment, but they don't have a screen to hide behind.
No escape hatch.
So the dynamic shifts immediately. Instead of collapsing onto the couch and auto-scrolling, the subject sat down and just watched.
Watched what?
They watched their cousin drawing, they watched an aunt cooking, and they asked simple questions. How was your day? Show me your picture.
And because they weren't glancing at a screen every 30 seconds, those questions actually landed. They felt sincere.
This leads to the moment that I think defines the whole experiment. It's evening. A friend asks the subject a standard question. How was the day going?
Now, normally we have a script for this. We play it safe.
Play it safe? We say good, busy, fine. We curate the answer just like we curate a profile picture. We give the version of ourselves that is low maintenance and happy.
But the subject had been living in this raw, vulnerable state all day. They hadn't been numbing themselves with content. So when the question came, they didn't use the script.
They admitted, honestly, it's hard. I feel restless. I keep reaching for something that isn't there. I feel a bit lost.
That honesty, that refusal to perform changed the temperature of the room. The source describes it as pouring your heart out.
They sat there over Tino phones on the table and talked about the pressure to answer instantly, the pressure to be fun in the group chat.
The anxiety of the read receipt.
Yes. And what happened?
What do you think happened?
Deep connection. The friend admitted they felt the exact same way. They laughed. They almost cried.
Yeah.
The source says this one conversation, this 1 hour of real talk, was deeper than 100 text messages ever could be.
That is the crucial takeaway for me. We tell ourselves the phone keeps us connected, but often it keeps us at the surface. It allows us to snack on connection without ever having a full meal.
And removing it forced the subject to dive deep.
It really did.
It really forces you to look at your relationship with the device. The source actually breaks this down into 4 specific psychological concepts, almost like a diagnosis of our condition. I'm going to run through these because I think they act like a mirror for our own habits.
Let's do it. It's like a conceptual tour of the withdrawal process.
Okay, first one, obsessed.
This is the background hum. Even when the phone is in your pocket, your brain is allocating resources to it. What am I missing? Did it vibrate?
Right.
It shows that the phone isn't just a tool. It's a presence that occupies mental RAM constantly. It's a cognitive load we carry 24/7.
It's never truly off in our heads. Okay, second concept, exaggerate.
This was fascinating. The subject felt like they checked their phone 1,000 times a morning. Now, factually, that's impossible. You can't check a phone 1,000 times in 3 hours.
But emotionally?
Emotionally, it felt true. It speaks to the weight of the habit. We exaggerate to express how heavy the burden of constant attention feels.
It feels like 1,000 interruptions.
It feels like 1,000 because every check is a little slice of your soul you're giving away.
Okay, next one. Holding on.
The safety blanket. This is the realization that we don't just use the phone for utility, we use it to soothe ourselves. Bored, phone. Sad, phone. Awkward silence. We're holding on to it to regulate our emotions.
It's adult pacifier.
In many ways, yes.
And the final one, and I think the most profound, waking up to.
This is the climax of the experiment. It's not about waking up in the morning. It's about becoming aware of a truth that was always there but was just drowning in noise. The subject woke up to how loud the phone's presence was.
It's like you don't realize how loud the refrigerator is humming until the power goes out and it suddenly stops.
That is the perfect analogy. The phone creates a constant hum in our lives, a hum of information, expectation, distraction. Only by turning it off do you wake up to the silence and the reality that was underneath it the whole time.
So we've walked through the ghost hands, the awkward elevators, the productivity lies, and the deep family talks.
Yeah.
It sounds intense. It sounds exhausting, actually.
It does.
But we have to ask the big question. So what? What do we do with this?
Right, because the conclusion here is definitely not throw your phone in the river and go live in a cave.
No, that's not practical. I need Google Maps. I need my banking app. I need to know if my flight is delayed.
Exactly. We live in a digital world. But the source suggests a soft approach. It's about rewriting the story. The goal is for you to write the story with the phone rather than letting the phone write your story.
So how do we do that? The expert in the source suggests many challenges.
Start small. You don't have to do the full 24-hour beautiful nightmare if you aren't ready. That's the marathon. Start with a 5K. Try a no-phone breakfast. Just 10 minutes. Eat your toast, drink your coffee, and look out the window. Or keep the phone out of the bedroom entirely. Buy a real alarm clock.
Or maybe try a half day on a Saturday.
Exactly. The idea is to reclaim those little pockets of reality, to stop playing it safe behind a screen and actually engage with the boredom, the silence, and the people around you.
It's about shifting from being obsessed to being present, even if it's just for an hour. I love that. And I think it's something we can all try, even if it scares us a little bit.
Especially if it scares us. That fear tells you how much you need to do it. If the idea of breakfast without a phone terrifies you, that's exactly why you should do it.
So here's the final thought I want to leave you with, straight from the heart of this deep dive. It's a question, and I want you to really answer it for yourself. If you put your phone down right now, turned it off, put it in a drawer, and just walked out into your day, would you feel lost? Would you feel like you were missing a limb? Or would you finally notice that the best parts of your day are actually happening right in front of you?
That is a question worth answering.
Thanks for diving in with us.
See you next time.